You're listening to a main feed episode. Go to patreon.com/Celtic Ligers where €5 a month gets you weekly full-length episodes, stray bonus content and access to the back catalogue. Also helps cover hosting and gives us money for sweeties. Thank you. Celtic Ligers.
Recorded 20th of May 2024.
What is the craziest animal you can breed? You know what I mean? Like you can breed a lion and a tiger.
Yeah.
But you can't breed like a whale with an elephant. You know what I mean?
I get it. Yeah.
No matter
Or
how
can
hard
you?
try. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't done the research.
There was that monkey, they said it was a cross between a human and a monkey.
Yeah.
And it smoked cigars and had no air.
Yeah. And it had AIDS.
Yeah, his name was Henry Kissinger.
Yes. And he lived to 100, so it just goes to show.
Yeah, it goes to show. You think it would die immediately, but it
No,
actually...
it's not a death sentence anymore because you can actually manage this with proper medicines and, you know.
Through a life unspeakable evil, you can live a very normal life. Very comfortable.
Yeah, I love when, at the end, there's not much you can do, but like Henry Kissinger being wheeled out of some place, and then some guy is just yelling at him, and Henry Kissinger is just like smiling serenely. He's like, "Can't catch me now," and I don't know whether he was entirely there or whether he was aware of what's happening, but like,
yeah,
his body is kind of aware and is like, it's too late, man.
I know.
What are you gonna do?
Like, there are some people who, when they become senile, they become incredibly depressed and unhappy. And he didn't even get that. He got the good senility.
He didn't get the one where you're like raging against the dying of the light.
Yeah. Now he gets the one that makes you think you're like 20 and getting a sponge bath from a nurse.
Yeah.
Jinx Lennon has that song about it's about a guy going to visit a priest in a nursing home.
Yeah.
And then he takes out a chainsaw and cuts him up because the priest beat his brother till he lost an eye.
That's funny. I never thought that about. I really need to do more research into Jinx Lennon because I only know the one song.
So straight.
Yeah.
Like he's completely singular.
Yeah.
You listen to one song and it'll be about that, and then another one will be like, if someone comes into your home, you should be able to shoot them.
Yeah.
And then another will be like, look after each other or something. I don't know.
That one was because Conor O'Toole's film Bicycle Thieves. Was it called Bicycle Thieves 2 Pumped Up? Is that? Or it's just called Bicycle Thieves Pumped Up? Anyhow, the credits played You Must Forgive the Cunts. And
you must forgive the bleep?
The bleeps? Did he say that? I'm not. Anyway, I remember... Yeah, listening to that, and I think it's a very uplifting song. It kind of brings, I remember very distinctly, I saw the film at the Fla, and it was outside at an outdoor screening because of COVID, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was so sunny, and I think the credits roll over a Dublin skyline. And I just felt it just felt so happy and uplifting to be out there. But then, and so when I revisit that song, I can't help but have an emotional reaction to it. But every time I hear it, I get I'm not forgiving them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I used to work in a factory. It was the worst environment I've ever been. Met some of the biggest arseholes that you've ever seen. The managers used to treat us like swill, like shit rolling downhill. but somehow you must rise. Somehow you must feel strength inside, cause you must forgive the cunts. Yeah, you must forgive the cunts. Yeah, the ones who walk upon you. Yeah, who walk all over you. Yeah, you really must forgive them. Yeah, I know it's really hard. Yeah, but if we don't forgive the cunts, yeah, now find a peace inside your one. Yeah.
There's also this new song, When You're Enough. It's called like, I can't remember what it's called, like Fuck the Folk Scene or something. And he's like, he's like giving out about people like Andy Irvine because they don't like him and they won't teach him. They wouldn't teach him how to play the guitar or something.
Who's Andy Irvine?
He was in Planksty.
Okay, I don't know that either, so continue.
You don't know Planksty?
No, I'm not really clued in.
Planksty, do you know Christy Moore?
Yeah,
So Christy Moore is in a band called Planksty.
yeah.
And their first album is called Prosperous. And it was recorded in Prosperous in wherever that is, Kildare. And it was very good. Liam O'Flynn, the uilleann pipe player, was in it. He was a very funny man. He was from a big, like, you know, trad family. Then he became sort of obsessed with doing like orchestral arrangements with the uilleann pipe at the centre and stuff, which aren't very good. Anyway, Christy Moore funds a lot of Jinx Lennon's albums.
Really?
Apparently so.
But what happened with him and Andy Irvine?
He just doesn't like Andy Irvine, but it's just funny to be going after Andy Irvine's 80, and he's just like, fuck Andy Irvine. Because he wouldn't teach me how to play guitar. But like, Jinx Lennon seems to have such an abrasive personality.
Yeah.
You just don't know what was going on.
What was the thing that happened on Twitter? Do you remember? I can't remember. He did something, and then he made an apology for it, and then people were like, not good enough. And then he kind of got a bit hostile towards that reaction as well. And then it kind of died down. But it was something that was kind of disappointing.
Something like everyone was going after someone. And then he was like, leave them alone, they're a good person or something. And then the original person was like transphobic. Yeah. And I don't think Jinx Lennon was saying like, they're right. I think he just didn't see what was going on. I just jumped somebody now. He jumped without a fence. Yeah. And then he apologized later, but it was a bit weird in his response.
I remember that his I really shouldn't comment on it if I don't fully remember it, but I do feel that there was something like there has to be a way of criticizing this person without destroying them, seemed to be the what he was trying to say. But then also people were like, no, you don't understand, this person is this way, you know? And then he was like, oh, I didn't realize, and I'm going to reflect, and but then that is usually not enough for people, so...
Yeah, he was also arguing with people on Twitter a lot.
Yeah. But there you go. Forgive him, even though he's a fucking cunt.
I still like him.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't know anything about you.
Yeah.
Lay off. Don't write a song about me. That's all I say.
Yeah. What if he listened to the podcast and wrote a song about it?
That would actually be amazing. Even if he hated it, it would be amazing. Like, fuck you for talking about... I can't even do his voice, sorry. I regret doing that. I'm so sorry. If you're wondering what I'm referring to, it's an impression I did of Jinx Lennon, which I bleeped out later on. Oh, I see what happened. It was Jinx Lennon was... He was defending Roisin Murphy.
Now, who's that?
Roisin Murphy is like... This one is a bit weird to me because her celebrity seems to be entirely relative. It's like a weird Mandela effect where I feel like I wander in and out of worlds where like Roisin Murphy is somehow like one of the biggest performers in Ireland, and then also somebody nobody knows. But anyhow, she's an Irish musician, and then she like there was some Facebook page where she was like, I don't know, fucking men are men and women are women, and people were upset about it, and so people got really angry about it. But Jinx Lennon was basically like, "Hey, stop jumping down her throat," and then people were like, "Well, this is what she was saying." He's like, "Okay, all right, well, I kind of didn't really realize that, but at the same time, you got to be kind of nicer to people. We kind of got to allow people to have opinions we don't agree with." And then people are like, "Fuck you," and then he's like, "Hey, fuck you," and then that's basically what happened. But the other thing I brought up at the David McWilliams then at one point took it upon himself to be like, loved Roisin Murphy's latest album. It's like, shut the fuck up, you don't.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
it was just like, you know, it's that type of thing where it's like, you know,
yeah.
Ironically, it's very Israeli of like, I'm actually laughing. I'm actually having a great time over here. I'm actually having so much fun, you know, like listening to my Roisin Murphy album. Ha ha ha! You don't like it, huh? You know, and you're just like fucking.
Or who's the other fella? You went out of Mrs. Brown's boys.
Yeah, Rory Cowan.
I remember for a while he kept posting pictures on Twitter being like, I'm having every meal out in a pub this week.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I'm doing my part, and he's eating like, you know, a boiled egg or something. And
it was much more hard. It was like he'd been like steak and chips 3 times a day. You'd be like, I'm having my meal. I'd be like steak, chips, and a pint at like noon. It's like, I don't know how you can do that. And then be like,
by myself. You know, table for one again, Rory? Yes, please. And don't spare the fucking slop on my steak.
Yeah.
I want to have the wettest steak possible, and the chips need to be frozen.
Yeah, can you steam the steak? And I think you went to a different pub for each meal as well.
Oh, God.
Like, just get a grip, you know?
Yeah.
On those chips that you're eating. Rip me some.
I'm going to show you. Did you see one of the clips I dropped in the chat, which is Zainab found that your one from Eurovision, the Israeli entry, she went back to a chat show and they did like a sketch making fun of all her detractors.
I saw that, and the sketch was like, they kidnap them and make them apologize. Was
that it?
It's like, so you do kidnap people. Like,
yeah.
Like,
it's really weird.
Yeah.
They can't really.
Bambi Thug, eh?
Yeah.
The Irish subreddit love Bambi Thug.
Really?
Tells you all you need to know.
They're the most confusing subreddit out there. See, so inconsistent.
What I realized about them is that they're completely ahistorical. You know what I mean? It's just like whatever's in the minute in front of them. And they're just like, I like the Eurovision. I don't want it to be political. I just want Ireland to win. I just want Ireland to be good. So like, Bambi Thug shouldn't boycott it because then we won't win. So fair play to her for going over. You know what I mean? It's all that sort of stuff. So they just love that they went over and sang and did Ireland proud, you know?
I think also it's based on grievance. They get really like... There's a certain kind of part of the Irish character which really enjoys when other people are pissed off. Okay? I mean, that's most things. The same in England as well and whatnot. But like, there's this kind of like devious chancer sort of component to it where it's just like, politics, don't get into that. Don't buy into that stuff. Whereas the Brits would be like, you know, actually I support what Israel is doing. Yeah. They'll be like, nah, we're not about supporting. Just Ireland getting up there and doing their thing. And then, that bothers you? It doesn't? Well, it sounds like your problem, you know, and kind of delighting in the fact that they've annoyed you by taking a kind of no position. You know? Or what they think is no position, but obviously it is a position.
I think as well, the last thing is have so bought into like Ireland, the company, that they're just like a very strange glass you're drinking out of.
Sorry.
You can't
It's not that strange. People steal pint glasses all the time, so
That's not the tip. That's not your tip. It looks like a vase.
it's a Budvar glass which I stole from my beloved friary. Sorry.
What do they do? You don't get
I
that
was saying that
glass out
they're
of my
aggrieved.
face. I'm gonna free. They really bought into Ireland, the company. So they're just like, if Bambi going over is better for the brand. Bambi goes over and it's like, they got their gender thing going on and shows we're modern, shows we're good crack, It's like all that sort of stuff. It's like,
I think they like them despite that. That doesn't factor into their enjoyment.
No, I don't think that they go, we like that they're non-binary. They're just like, we like that people would see Ireland as modern enough to accept that.
I just find it funny because if they were just like performing at Whelan's and then went on telly and said if they appeared on the Late Late Show and they would just be like, who the fuck is this? Yeah. Why are they on my fucking TV? Why is this fucking freak? But because they got through, they're just like, yeah, great job. Oh, I don't know why you're so mad. Like, come on, we're in Eurovision. Lighten up a bit.
Yeah. That's definitely it. Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad they lost.
Oh, yeah. Very humiliating. And also, they handled it so poorly that actually... that's also a good thing.
Who?
Bambi Thug.
Did they handle it badly?
Do you remember afterwards where it's like they're being interviewed and they're like, fuck the EBU, fuck it, and they're getting really upset. And they look like, if the pictures of them, they're almost crying, And they're like, you could just see some Israeli watching that going like laughing, enjoying it. The idea that their enemies are like, I'll get you, gadget, and just like shaking their fist. And it's like, you fucked up your own thing. Everybody told you don't do this and you did it. And now you're like, I can't believe that the thing that was obviously going to happen has happened. I'm so aggrieved.
And they were dressed as the witch from Power Rangers. Remember that one?
Yeah, Rita Repulsa.
I'll get you, Power Rangers. What would she say?
That is funny. Yeah, she'd be like, I'll get you, Power Rangers. I don't know what that's what she's saying. We all know what she said. We don't have to get into it.
I remember when I was young, I think what I've decided to do is with my niece and nephew is to just believe everything they tell me. You know what I mean? I'm going to do that retroactively for stories from my childhood. So like, there's a guy from my school and he went to see the Power Rangers live and he said that one of the putties kicked him. I think it'd be funny when my niece is older and she's like, I went to the zoo and a giraffe bit my hair off. And I'll be going, like, Jesus. I'll be going around the place going, my niece went to the zoo and a giraffe, like, it's not, you think it'd be safe, but it's actually not.
Yeah. We need to do something about it. I've gone on to the council. We're talking about it.
But like,
there are wheels in motion. Okay. They gave me the number of somebody else, and I really think they're going to take this seriously. They should.
Yeah.
And then trying to get a primetime special about the danger of giraffes. They have taller cages, and I'm not going to stop until they do.
Yeah.
Joe.
Or like, apparently there's a new Wii coming out. My niece is a friend. His dad works for Nintendo. And it's mad. It sounds like it could be mad because it's like 3D. It's a hologram.
No, they do. He works with them.
Yeah. Anyway, he said a putty kicked him.
Yeah. It did kick me. See, a putty. I thought a putty kicked me. It did.
Were the putties made out of clay or something?
I think so. I don't know. I don't know if you know, but in Power Rangers, apparently it was like there's like 2 different shows that were on in Japan, and some Israeli businessman bought the rights to them, and then filmed a bunch of inserts in California, and then they just cobbled them together, and we're like, okay,
yeah.
So like,
I mean,
so you know the way it's like,
time.
It's kind of like, why is like a guy in a big, like an alien robot suit looking thing? Why are they fighting like a wizard? Do you know? It'd be like, well, that's the wizard part of the show that I bought that I've mixed in with the robot part of the show.
Yeah.
Like, anyway, that guy got insanely wealthy. His name is Haim Saban, and he has like a massive production company now. Me and Zainab were actually watching the telly the other day, and this movie came on, and it was like a murder mystery cop, sort of like a kind of like Seven-esque thriller, okay?
Yeah.
And it was set in Ireland, and it had Antonio Banderas in it, and it was released this year. I was like, what the fuck? And then I looked it up, and it was Saban Productions. So the guy who did the Power Rangers thing. Anyway.
Maybe we should do that. By the rights to like The Simpsons and Family Guy.
Did you know, like, one time Bill Burr said on his podcast, like, he's like, years and years ago, I was watching Westworld, and I was like, not the TV show, the movie, okay? And he was going like, God, I wonder if they have the rights to that, okay? Like, how much would that cost? And so he tried to get his agent to like buy the rights to Westworld, or like to investigate how much they cost. And he's like, and they sent me back the number, and I was like, Jesus Christ. You know, he was like, Westworld. Like, if you saw what Westworld was, it was like Michael Crichton.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the really old one. Yeah.
One with like the midget in it.
I don't know. Well, Yul Brynner is in it, playing a robot cowboy, and it's like, it's what Itchy and Scratchy Land episode of The Simpsons was based on. So it has a lot of visual language from that. But he was like, how expensive could that possibly be? And now, like, anything, like, you know what I mean? But you wouldn't imagine like a 21 Jump Street movie would have been a goer. But then all of these brands are valuable because if somebody can even half remember them, then they've got a built-in audience, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they made a fucking Banana Splits horror movie there like 2 years ago. Do you know the Banana Splits?
Bananas and Pajamas.
I wonder what they up to. Are they up to the Bananas and Pajamas? How much would the rights to be for that?
Yeah, surely they're dressed by now.
Yeah. Sorry, imagine, because it's the past, like, you hate seeing pajamas. Just imagine you watch it, like, oh, God. Your niece comes up and just being like, look, I got a new favorite show. Oh, Jesus. You know,
rip it up.
Not in this house, throwing it into the fire. And like, just while we were talking about Ireland, I figured now would be a good time to talk. The Dublin Portal reawakened with new security measures in place.
Yeah, we actually never talked about the portal.
I know.
At all.
Yeah. I guess I just thought it was such a radio story that I didn't really care, you know?
Only in Dublin, you know?
Well, this is it. Whenever you hear, because we were talking about it, like the portal, and when they go, yeah, we put the portal
on the craziest street in Dublin.
Well, it is one of the crazier streets in Dublin, but even just the idea of like, okay, it's like a portal, and it looks over to New York from Ireland. You'd be like, I could see about 1 million problems with that already.
Yeah.
And then they just stack the deck against themselves even further. I mean, I worked on Talbot Street. I got no beef with Talbot Street.
But it's a horrible street, and the people are crazy.
But people are crazy. And also what we know, like last year, Talbot Street became the focus of like, people were like, there's no-go areas in Dublin. You can't even walk down Talbot Street. Not that you ever could walk down Talbot Street, but, you know. Like,
it's funny, I was talking to someone, and they were like, somebody comes out with a lot of crazy, like, stereotypes, we'll say. But they were like, oh, the portal's going on Talbot Street. They were like, where will the Roma get their chicken? Where will they eat their chicken? I was like, what? And they're like, There's raw meat and chicken there. Like,
is there?
I have
If
no
you
idea.
say so.
And they're like, "This place is always covered in old yogurt."
Here's another thing. Why would the camera prevent the Roma from getting chicken if that was in fact where they ate chicken?
They just seem to be like, if you... They didn't even seem to think that the Romans shouldn't be eating chicken. They were just like, that's why they do it. And this new thing would like be in their way. You know what I mean? It would be sort of like if they got rid of the Markovich Centre, she'd be going, where will I go swimming? You know?
Yeah.
Where will the Roma eat their chicken?
I don't know.
It's one of those things where you're just like, maybe if she sees something, maybe they do eat chicken. No harm if they do.
Hey.
And then the
Different
yogurt
strokes,
thing.
different folks.
She was like
The yogurt one is interesting. All right.
and she wasn't saying the Roma were doing the yogurt either.
Mm.
She was just like, it's always covered in yogurt.
I don't get it. I don't
I don't get it either.
It sounds like somebody who walked down Talbot Street once and saw two things and was like, that's what it's known for. I saw an empty yogurt tub, and then I saw a Roma family having like a snack box.
Yeah.
Like, where are they going to eat their chicken? And where about all the yogurt?
That is what it was like.
But yeah.
But instead of another chicken sprayed her yogurt.
Well, the thing about the portal in the first place is like, okay, so you're gonna have a security guard there or somebody to make sure that people aren't messing, and then they go, no, all right, like that's unusual, and then they're like, oh yeah, and I was like, where could they put it? There's no place they could put it in Dublin that would avoid people messing, but you know, like, do you want to show the city, the north side, which you've historically neglected?
Yeah,
we're gonna put it there. Why? Because we need to see the spire. And it's like somebody like having a webcam where it's like, oh fuck, I didn't have time to wash any new pants, you know, so I'm gonna have to go on be naked from the waist down, and I'll just tilt my webcam so that people can't see, you know.
Yeah, how about calling
just reassure you, James, I am wearing
Ming
pants.
Flanagan out like that.
Exactly. And that was the one thing that you remember. When he got hacked and that guy liked or the word Saoirse skinny dipping. But like I saw news outlets accompany that story with the picture of him with naked from the waist down, or like with his underwear, and I was like, you fuckers, you're such
It
pricks.
is like he sleeps naked to conserve his sexual powers.
That's only half true.
Yeah.
You know? But but anyway, just that thing of like positioning the camera so it kind of tactfully avoids the majority of the decay that you've created.
It avoids the chicken on the ground, you know.
And all the yogurt and all that. But actually, I really like this Milo Edwards tweet because he put it, because the thing that happened is the portal in New York and Dublin has been shut down because some girl flashed the people in Dublin from New York.
Yeah.
And Milo Edwards
Wait,
put
was
it,
she in Dublin or was she in New York?
She was in New York.
And you see the other thing?
What?
That,
were they?
No, but before that, she's the one, during COVID, she was filmed herself like licking a toilet seat.
Ugh,
and, like,
what?
I think she was in an airplane or something, and she was like, I'm doing the COVID challenge, and then like licked the toilet seat.
What the hell's wrong with people's brains? Like people who do that, you know? But yeah, Milo Edwards wrote, amazing that the shutdown was caused by the New York side. The Irish were really controlling the game in the first half, but a shock last-minute equalizer for the Big Apple there.
Yeah. The best one was the video. And you can see from the New York side. And it's a fella who has like the oldest phone. It's a phone from like 2005. It's so... How do you get...
The first smartphone ever made.
Yeah. Like... I remember the model. It was like when people were like, oh, this phone can send photos over SMS. And then he's like, holding it up to the camera on the Dublin side. And he just manages to switch to like a picture of the Twin Towers on fire. Like a there's a great one.
That was good. What was there was a guy who mooned it, but like
Yeah.
nobody in Ireland felt there was no chance of somebody in Ireland going, I'm going to show my tits.
I think people do
you know?
coke in front of it.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's legal.
Yeah.
Just like the Lewis is free. You know the way you can do coke in Dublin? Just get that going as a cute kind of hashtag way. But as we all know, the Lewis is free and you can do coke in Dublin.
Yeah, and I met the president when I was high on ketamine or LSD.
I cannot believe how much mileage that fucker has gotten off of that.
I had completely
I know,
forgotten
like
about it. And then
No, I don't. I can never forget about it because I follow him on Twitter, and like once a month, it's like just refreshing this article up here. You're like, fuck, man. I know you wrote a book as well and all this shit, but like, I don't know. It reminds me of my dad telling me the most exciting thing that ever happened to him, where it's like it gets less and less exciting as the years go on because there's just like a lot of stuff has happened that have kind of eclipsed you accidentally doing yokes and talking to
what is the
Mary
story?
Apparently he just did a bunch of ket, but he didn't realize that he was to be talking to Mary McAleese, and so he conducted an interview, and I was like, yeah, that's like most journalists in the UK. They're like doing off their tits on something and interviewing somebody sweatily.
Yeah, it's just Vice.com.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not a very good story. So there's a guy in my... This isn't a very good story either, but there's a guy on my Instagram Reels. He's a rapper, and he does this... There's one video he keeps throwing up, and it's like he like does this basketball trick and sinks the ball, and then he starts rapping, and the rap always ends with "I'm never going back to the basement," and everyone's just like, "What is that line about?" But, and then someone's like, "Why do you keep putting up that same video?" And he goes, "It just gets a load of likes, you know."
Yeah.
But eventually, you have to move on, you know.
Yeah. I think
Likes aren't real.
Yeah.
Likes aren't everything. Those people online aren't your friends.
Sorry, I was just trying to. I was scrolling down through the comments on the portal, the post that I was reading. And I'm sending you a message. I'm sending you a photo here from one of the comments.
Is it on what? What's up?
Yeah.
Let me get my phone.
All right. Now you just this is going to complete. If you just kind of casually checked your phone, that'd have been fine. But no. I can't believe he just left. I think he's got to make a cup of tea or something. Alright, fine. Just sit here.
This was a triumph. I'm making a note here, huge success. It's hard to overstate my satisfaction.
He's got it.
Now, to look at this picture. Hope it's good. What the fuck is that? What is that? It's like...
Apparently it's from the Dublin side. Just this guy short a porno.
It is. That's funny.
I love the idea of like I had this idea of like, oh, the Irish just mooned. They showed a bit of restraint, and then I saw that and I was like, of course they didn't. What the fuck was I thinking? Nobody would have access to a portal that goes somewhere else and just be like, I'll do some bit of harmless mooning. That'll be it. It's like, no, I'm gonna show you some fucked up shit in my phone.
Yeah.
Well, inappropriate shit. It's obviously incredibly natural for a man and a woman who love each other very much.
A man with a 12-inch penis.
Big rod.
You fuck a woman who's half plastic. And for it to have like a racially charged title.
What's the title? I didn't read the title. Fuck.
Blacked. So
Blacked rod. I love when people kind of end up telling you a little bit about themselves as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like that's his go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if it was me and I was doing that, I'd be like Googling like Pamela Anderson, just to be like, this is the only remotely, couldn't think of anything more crazy than this,
Yeah. Don't check.
Yeah.
So what have they put in place? The live stream restarted and...
It was very paternalistic to shut it down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just let the craziness happen. I think they should have just kept escalating it though until someone ended up like flying to New York and killing someone. I read, there's one that's between like, where is it, Lithuania and Hungary or somewhere? Is it?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's two other ones.
Yeah.
And they keep like posting like the Treaty of, 1498.
Yeah.
It's like, it'd be like if it was between France and England and they were like, Agincourt, get a load of that. That's what I was like. Yeah. We want that fair and square. Getting into debate about long bows versus short bows and stuff.
Yeah.
You don't know what I'm talking about, do you?
I really...
You really look up Blankstein.
I did.
They're very good.
I was reading about them while you were talking.
I
was watching the latest Mr.Beast video.
I was going to say I watched the latest Jerry Seinfeld film.
Yeah, okay. Which is better? I mean, Mr.Beast is better, but which is more fruitful for content?
Did we talk about the Seinfeld film?
No.
Seinfeld.
The Seinfeld film.
Yeah. Tell me about the Mr. Beast.
I'd never watched a single Mr. Beast thing before. I didn't know anything about him. I just knew that he had like obscene amounts of money to just drop on people for whatever reason.
But I don't know where he got the money.
I have no clue.
Because I found out about Mr. Beast, and this isn't a brag, I'd say like before a lot of other people. You know what I mean? Definitely before Mr. Beast Burger.
Yeah.
And at the time he was doing stuff like I bought like all these microphone, those loudspeakers. You know those? Like Bart.
Yeah.
He did the Bart thing.
Yeah.
And then I was Googling, like, where's this guy getting all this money? I couldn't figure it out. Where does he get the money?
Every time I was looking it up as well, but like people would be like, well, of course he's got a load of money. He's got a very successful YouTube channel.
But he started it off.
I know.
What he says, and in one way I believe him, because if there's anyone out there who's like merged their mind with the YouTube algorithm, it's him. He was just like, I worked on gaming the algorithm.
Yeah.
So it's one of his first big ones was like, I count to 1 million.
I saw that. Yeah. I think it was 100,000.
Oh yeah, whatever it was. Sure, you can do that for free,
Yeah.
I mean, presumably it's a mixture of his dad being rich and he just like learned to game the algorithm.
Yeah. This one is about these two people who are kept in a sensory deprivation room.
Yeah.
For 100 days in order to win 500,000 I can't remember if it's each or not, but either way, it's like, you know, the sensory deprivation thing as well. The lights are on all the time.
Yeah. Like I saw a thing and it was, you know your man, hey, Vsauce. You know him?
No.
And he was doing a YouTube show and he went into one of those like sensory same thing for like 2 days.
Yeah.
And when he came out, he was like, couldn't remember his name. He was like really he was like really confused.
Yeah.
So we did it for 100 days.
Yeah, and you're with, and there's nothing in there like no books, no TV.
And
no
the point
whatever.
of his was like, this is torture. So if you're in solitary confinement, they're torturing you.
Yeah,
That's the point he was making. The Mr.Beast.
Yeah.
Anyway,
See, like what happened was, so you're with another person, so you're at least able to talk to them. Although, so they both were like, oh yeah, it's probably like 6 p.m. So, or what? 6 p.m. It's probably nighttime now. Let's go to sleep, all right? And they were like, they slept they went to bed apparently at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then they slept for 2 hours, and then they were convinced that they'd gotten a full night's sleep. And I was just like, they didn't know what day it was, they didn't know what time it was, and the lights were on constantly, and they have to try and create things to like shield them from the light so they can try and get some sleep. And then at intervals then throughout the 100 days, Mr. Beast would come in and be like, oh, we'll open the door and you can see the outside, and look, there's a chef, and the chef will make you lovely food for the rest of it, and all you have to do is give up 50 grand. And so there's various challenges like that. But I was really kind of, the thing that interested me about it is first of all of them are white and the same type of stupid white person. Okay.
yeah.
So at one point anyway, he was like, okay, so we'll offer you can have all of the Harry Potter books for 10 grand. Okay. And they were like, oh, those Harry Potter books. Oh man. And I was like, Harry Potter? Like they're like adults, but also like, have you not read all, like, why would you, I don't think I would be tempted by Harry Potter, but they were like, they're like, this is going to really they didn't say this, but the implication is this is really going to tempt them because these are the best books in the world.
Yeah, like they're clearly supposed to be good books. Because if you offer them like the phone book, they probably would be like, we love anything. But they're not. They're offering like the class, you know, like Harry Potter. You know, he's cool. That'll make the time fly by.
Yeah, and then at one point they're kind of talking about what they want to do with the money, which is also the saddest thing, which is like, I guess I'll just pay off some of my college debt. I've got a house and I'll pay off a bit of the mortgage. I was like, fuck, man, that sucks.
Yeah.
You know, like, and then they're like, my dad needs to, you know, health insurance. And I was like, shit. And then it's like, that's the Mr. Beast thing as well, to be like, oh, you know, and I gave them this money. After torturing them for 100 days, I gave them this money. But anyway, at one point she goes, thing I'd really love, it'd be the best thing ever. If they, you know, if they offered me this, oh, it'd be a big deal. If they offered me a Tesla, and I didn't really understand what she was talking about. I was like, does Tesla mean something else that you would use in the room? No, she meant if they offered me a Tesla car, oh, I'd have to think about it. It's like, why would they offer you a Tesla car? Why would you be saying that? What the fuck is... So anyway, then at one point, so we were listening. So as a result, we brought in a box with like a question mark on it, basically.
It's a Tesla. Like, how big was the box?
The box was about... it was a cube, and it would have been about like waist high. Okay. And so they're like, oh, do you want to pay 50 grand to figure out and you get what's in this box? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so they debated, and then they decided, okay, we won't go for what's in the box. So then they opened the box, and inside the box was 50 grand. Okay. So they wouldn't have lost their money. And then they pull out 2 credit card looking things. And it's like, these are the keys to 2 Teslas that you could have had. I was like, Tesla has a fucking card, like you're swiping into a building. That's so fucking lame. And then on top of that, she was like, And they were like, for 9 days afterwards, Kylie, because I'm presuming her name was Kylie, I can't remember, was like, just could not stop talking about it. Like, I could have had a Tesla. I could have had a Tesla. And it's like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
They're fucking lame. Like, and then the other guy was like, well, whatever. I like my, what's the name of the hybrid car? You know, the one that everyone always, he's had a Prius. He's like, I like my Prius, so I don't give a shit. But she was like, I could have had a Tesla. And I couldn't wrap my head around caring about a Tesla or being in a room and being like, you know, I have $500,000, but what would tempt me to leave this room after being in here for half of the time would be that I got a shitty fucking car.
Yeah.
Like, what in the world? I just couldn't. Anyway, what are you going to do?
Yeah, some people's priorities are just so screwy. It's unreal, isn't it?
But there was another bit as well where they show sort of time lapse from inside, and nothing much happened in the room, and then something caught my eye. Okay, and so the time lapse are just like people kind of lying down, and then everything looks like it's moving a little quickly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I was noticed in the corner there was a fucking giant centipede. Okay. And it was just circling around the bottom of the floor. And I was like, because you kind of like, I'm in a sensory deprivation thing. It's like, well, that's what they've said. But actually, they've just built this thing in the middle of nowhere in the south. Okay. So all these like fucking bugs and shit are just coming into it clearly. I could not. I was like, that's revolting. That's horrible. And they were the stupidest people ever. But the other thing I wanted to comment on is just that like, it was. I'm presuming that everybody else watches this stuff and is no longer surprised at the format or the structure. But it was like 25 minutes and then they come in and then they, so if it was like a cheap TV show and it had fucking Jeremy Clarkson and James May and we're going to spend time in a sensory deprivation, then it would be like, now this is in Stockholm, Sweden. Stockholm, known for its, and they would have a big intro and then they'd get in and it was like day one and there'd be a whole thing. Like by minute 4, they were already on day 25. Do you know what I mean? The clip that this was going where it's like, okay, here's a sensory deprivation. Here are the two people. They've never met. All right, now they're inside the thing. And then we just start immediately. Okay. And I was like, what the fuck? We're just straight into this, like 25 concentrated minutes of just these people in this room. And then at the end, like, usually for these shows, if we're on TV, they'd be like, it was amazing. It was such an incredible experience. I'd do it again. I mean, I wouldn't do it immediately again, but I learned a lot about There'd be a wrap up. But as soon as the thing was over, it's just like, not even credits. The video was over. It's done.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is the exact way that I want to watch TV, where it's just like, no fucking fat. You came here to watch some bullshit, so here is the bullshit. A very concentrated bullet of bullshit.
It is mad how, like, that's a new format. Like, I watched this guy got basically homeless. And he does this thing, like, I don't know where he got the name from, but it'll be like, he made a computer that was powered off petrol and had a clutch. And it's like a 10-minute video.
Yeah.
And then it just ends. Like, it's just he must put weeks of work into that. And then he just makes a 10-minute video where it's like over before you know it. And then that's it. Just on to the next thing. Whereas like,
and you don't,
if that was a TV episode, it would be like an hour of like, and it'd just be so much like, so I talked to this guy, and I talked to this guy, and all this sort of stuff. No, none of that. And that's everything now.
But they're like, most of the show is like, well, we need to know the people who are in here, what makes them tick, what are they about, and then Mr.Beast is like, no, we don't need to know any of that. It's just fun to watch two complete random people just compete for 500.
It's like when you read an old book, and like the first third of the book is about the character like growing up and making friends. You ever read like, I don't know if like Frankenstein is like this, but books like that. It's like if you read the book now, it'd be like the guy goes to the lab and he makes Frankenstein. Whereas this will be like, I'm from the town of Stuttgart in Germany. Like my dad was a baker. And then like, after 5 or 6 chapters of like what it was like to be middle class in 18th century Germany. It's like, then I decided to study biomechanics, you know?
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
It's just, old stuff is so slow. That must be what it's like for like 15-year-olds trying to watch TV.
There was this show called Space Chickens in Outer Space, I think, which my friend Adam worked on. And he showed me an episode, and it was written by these two, it was made by these two kind of Swedish YouTubers who Disney really had a soft spot for back at around the mid-2010s. And he showed me an episode, and it was like impossible for me to keep up with it. But I knew that like some kid would be watching it going like, oh yeah, funny, this works. Because they're so used to YouTube stuff. Like if it's happening a mile a minute, that you can't even register, you know? Which I guess just... I'm going to say this and just leave it at... I remember I was complaining about the pace of Doctor Who, the way it's gotten, on our other podcast, Wholistic, which is available on patreon.com.
It's not another podcast. It's a sub-series for this podcast.
Okay, it's a mini-series, yeah. I was like, maybe that's what it's responding to. People don't watch TV like the way they used to, and having these little kind of preambles to get into it is like, that's a fucking thing of the past,
thank God.
You know?
Like, I used to hate... the ends of films. Not so sad that they're over, but just because I'd be like, I know, it's like, he's got to go home now.
Exactly.
And I'd just be like so frustrated.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, the end of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that's a perfect example.
That's how every film feels to me.
Right. It's because I'd also, like, back in the 60s and like even before that, whatever, like older movies, like when the story ended, then the movie just ended, you know? Like there was, I know it's, but like those long endings are a fairly recent phenomena.
But even if there was like a 5-minute scene of like, he goes home to his wife and she hugs.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I was just like, it's over.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I don't really know where you draw the line there. It'd be like, I'd like a little closure. I
don't want the closure.
That's funny.
It's just like and I don't want too much of an introduction.
Yeah.
It just, to me, it feels like, you know, when you're playing a game.
Yeah.
And it's like, come with me and I'll show you the ropes. And then you have to like walk after them.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
Yeah. I sort of like that.
I love that, like, James sets up like a TV channel, and then it's like the story kind of functionally ends, and then you go, okay, and for anybody who wants to see the ending, press the red button, and we're on to the next thing. Do you know?
Yeah. You want to see the start of the next film? Just
yeah. It's like those people who read books about like Star Wars to be like, oh, this just fleshes out this character in the background, except they're all like endings. It's like, if you want the ending, you got to buy the book, all right? So buy the book and read it. We're on to the next thing.
Like the last mission in games, I normally don't play that.
I usually don't play it because I'm too scared. I hate getting beaten by the boss so badly. This is a rough one for me today. I'm just not feeling at all present.
So I watched the Jerry Seinfeld.
The Jerry Seinfeld movie. Yes, go for it.
Yeah. It's called Pop-Tarts or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called.
Is it called Frosted?
Maybe. And,
Unfrosted?
No, it's definitely...
Unfrosted, the Pop-Tarts movie.
It's called Unfrosted.
Well, I don't know. I imagine it would be like unvarnished. Does that make sense?
No.
It is called Unfrosted.
Okay.
So, apologies. What, now, later?
And it's not very good.
No.
For a start. Have you heard anything about it?
Yeah, I've heard quite a lot about it from
It's a sort of film
reviews.
that if he made it 10 years ago, maybe more. When did the Lonely Island movie come out?
I think it came out in which one? Hot Rod or Don't Stop. Don't Stop.
Yeah.
Never Stopping. Isn't that it?
Something like that.
I didn't like that movie at all, and it also did very badly. So,
Okay, maybe it's not the best.
Never Stop, Never Stopping. Pop Star,
When did
Never
it come
Stop,
out?
Never Stopping. 2016.
Yeah, I feel if it came out before then, it would have done really well. Like, there's that old interview of him talking about how he thinks about Pop-Tarts quite a lot.
Mm,
And if he'd released it around then, I think it would have done very well.
yeah,
You know?
like Pop
That's
Star,
a bit... Just like Pop Stars.
which did very badly.
Just like 30 Rock. When did 30 Rock finish?
God, 20. Now this one I actually think did end in 2010.
No way.
Yeah, I think so. 2006 until 2013. Whoa, I wouldn't have guessed that.
You would have guessed earlier.
Yeah, I would have guessed 2010. I would have thought that it just missed that decade, but it made a little bit into the decade.
Yeah. It was just very dated, and the whole, like, complete absence of politics right up until the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It just felt very dated.
I think just how hateful Jerry Seinfeld has become. One thing that I haven't seen mentioned, so like Michael and us did a review of it, the Chapo guys did a review of it, which kind of surprised me. But at no point did they mention that Sarah Cooper is in it. Do you remember her?
No.
Sarah Cooper was that woman who got famous for mouthing the Trump speeches. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, I remember reading an article about her.
Yeah, and for some reason she did this, and they were quite popular. And then people were like, of a certain generation, were like, she is the funniest fucking woman that there ever was.
Seinfeld has a weird relationship with new comedy, because like there's your one, and then you remember comedians in cars getting coffee.
Yeah,
And he had all the like big staples of comedy on it.
yeah,
And then he had Miranda Sings. So why is
yeah.
she
He
on?
produced her Netflix show as well. I was gonna say.
Yeah. So like his taste in new comedy is very off. Very
Yeah.
weird. Like he's always at that thing of like comedy is like a craft and you just craft a joke.
Mm.
And then like what makes him look like Miranda Sings and Sarah Cooper and be like, this is a craft, you know?
I think in my... There's two things I would say. One is like he likes kind of boring white shit, okay? And he thinks that is like expertly crafted, do you know? So because another person that he liked was this French comedian who was like massive in France, and he tried to launch him in America. And his name was like Gal something. I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember that guy. But so that guy was like the French Jerry Seinfeld, because he was doing like observational stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he was also like, you know, his approach was essentially like, if a joke is a good joke, it should work in any language.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things was that guy didn't speak English.
Yeah.
So he was just trying to like learn his set off.
Mm.
He was trying to learn the translation off. Just like, what's the word? Like, you know, when you write out the sounds.
Phonetically.
Yeah.
Phonetically.
He tried to learn the whole set off just phonetically.
Yeah.
You can imagine Seinfeld being like, yeah, that's just something's funny, it should work in any language. You know,
But
like,
I think like he likes those kind of white bread clocking in at the Comedy Factory and doing your little bits. And then the legacy people that he has on, I think, is entirely like, oh, respect. You've been in the game a while, and I understand that, you know, what you do is not funny, but you know, you got your audience. Like, I have a very hard time believing that, like how him and Norm Macdonald, I love that Norm Macdonald just gets the majority of like the people he had on his show, or that he was the most friendly with, were like raging Zionists. You know, when you think about like Larry King and Jerry Seinfeld, Roseanne Barr, you know.
yeah.
like there's some older guys who, you know, I don't know their position, but I can guess. Like Carl Rayner.
Judge Judy, you can sort of guess.
Judge Judy, yeah. But anyway, I think that like it's bizarre hearing him like that's where Norm Macdonald did that bit about he's like, United comedian Patton Oswalt was saying that the worst thing about Cosby was the hypocrisy, and I disagreed. I thought that the worst thing was the raping.
As my feeling, most rapists are hypocrites. You don't meet many go, I like raping, and I know it's not politically correct, but by God, people go, well, he's not being a hypocrite, and that's the worst part.
You know, and then Jerry Seinfeld, they're like, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it was so weird, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it didn't make any sense. And then the other thing, like, that they brought up on the other, on Chapo, was how he hates Bobcat Goldthwait. Who, you know, Bobcat Goldthwait, like he was in the Police Academy movies, if you know those.
The guy who makes the noises.
No, he's a mad like ball of energy. He's like, he'll go around and he's like, I don't know, that kind of weird raspy
the guy
voice.
who screams.
Yes.
Thank you very much,
Pretty much. It's not Sam Kinison though. He's a different guy. But he's crazy. He also was like very good friends with Nirvana, and he used to go on tour for them and open for them. And the type of stuff he'd do is he'd throw fish guts over the audience and just go nuts. And he's made a bunch of crazy movies, but they're pretty dark. One of them is called World's Greatest Dad, where one of his best friends is Robin Williams.
I saw that.
Yeah.
That was such a crazy film.
Yeah, it is crazy. It's pure dark, but like, you know, there's a kind of spiritual kinship you could feel with like Norm Macdonald. Not really. He's a bit more anarchic than Norm Macdonald, but like
you can imagine they'd enjoy each other.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas, so Seinfeld is like, oh yeah, Norm Macdonald, yeah, I get you, and then he'd be like, Bobcat, go away, you fucking piece of shit. Like, there's a bit on on Netflix which I think is like censored or removed or something, where like one of the people he has on the show, I think a rare woman on the show, and he's basically grilling her.
On what show?
On comedians in cars getting coffee or whatever the fuck it is. And which, by the way, the format of that show, do you remember Robert Llewellyn, who played Crichton in Red Dwarf?
No.
Well, anyway, he had a YouTube show which was the exact same thing. And then a few years later, Jerry Seinfeld comes up with his Netflix show, which is that. And then it's like, yeah, we didn't rip it off, though. It was something else. We just had a similar idea. It's like, I don't know. I think that was... Could have thrown him a few bob there, maybe. But anyway. The thing that I was... yeah, apparently, though, he just grills her for being friends with Bobcat Goldthwait.
I don't like him. At all. Oh, no. At all. In fact, I have a particular feeling about him. I had kind of forgotten about him. Mm-hmm. And then there was a little article about him in the paper. Mm-hmm. And even in that, there was a veiled reference to his dislike of what I did.
Really?
Anyway, it didn't have my name, of course. He used to rail against comedians because they weren't as wild and dangerous as he was, because he sucked. Okay? He wasn't funny.
Yeah.
And that's why he didn't get anywhere.
Yeah.
Period.
I feel very tense right now.
Because in comedy, nobody gives a if you're cool, if you're lame, if you're funny, you win. If you're not funny, you don't. And he's not funny. That's why I had to do that stupid voice. Because you have no act.
I feel very stressed.
Yeah. You could tell him, by the way, all of that. And that's why he didn't like me, because I could actually do it. I can do it. I can do comedy.
Yeah, but you can...
He can't. And that's why he doesn't like me. That's what that's about.
Oh, my God. I've never seen you like this before.
Yeah, I've never been like this before. And I'll tell you where else.
But then it's the most upset you've ever seen him. He's like really like shaking. He's so upset talking about Bobcat Goldthwait and how like a medium talent he is. And he's like, he's just shit. And it's like, I just think you don't get him. I don't know, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Did you go off on him
on
first?
Millionaire comedians bitching about their diamond shoes being too tight.
I didn't notice that.
While they make fun of the working class people in cars no one can afford show.
Where, did you start the feud?
I was on Arsenio. That's where this whole thing
This is a long time ago.
Yeah.
He's a spooky, weird Scientologist guy banging teenage girls.
Well, my friend Bridget Everett was on his show, and then he's like going, he's not funny. And Bridget's like, well, I love him.
Yeah, and he's a friend of mine.
And she's like, well, yeah, I know. And he really makes Bridget squirm.
Right.
It's really weird. And she goes, well, I love him. And he's like, it's good that you love him because audiences don't love him. They love me because I got talent and I got skills. It's really weird. And then he laughs like, I was like, Seinfeld finally has an opinion about something? and it's me?
I can do it. I can do comedy.
Yeah, but you can.
He can't.
Him calling me out is like an Old West, you know, and I've got my 45s on the wall. I've retired, and he's like, Goldfarb, come on out. I'm like, Jerry, let's not do this. You're a coward, you yellow-bellied sapsucker. I go, Jerry, we don't want to do this. Then, so he fires first, and it's like, that's why he does that dumb character. That's the only way he can make people laugh. And I just dodge his bullet, and I go, pull out my gun. Your biggest talent is being Larry David's friend. Boom.
Wait, this is on stage?
No, this is what I said publicly.
Right.
I was like, I hear the new season of your show is going to be called Old Comedians in Vans Handing Out Candy in Playgrounds.
But then the other one was, I was going to say about why does he like Miranda Sings? Probably because he's got a business manager who tells him to like Miranda Sings. He looks at these people and thinks these are worthy investments, you know? These are the people who, hey, they got 100,000 people on Instagram, then I can, you know, make their show.
I don't know. I don't think he thinks like that.
Really?
Like, I think that he literally the only thing he cares about is comedy.
Yeah.
And that's why he gets so weirdly angry about Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah.
And I think that he genuinely, I'd say he just hates all new comedy.
Yeah.
And then he saw Miranda Sings and he was like, this is grand, like it's grand.
Yeah.
Better than the other stuff.
Maybe it was his kids. We don't know, you know?
Yeah, and he's like, it's better than the other stuff. And then he just got a bit overgassed by the whole thing, you know?
Did you see the Miranda Sings thing that happened last year where she basically, there was something happened where she had an inappropriate relationship with an underage person and then made an apology video while playing the ukulele and singing a little song. And I'm like, fucking hell.
So I just wanted to say that the only thing I've ever groomed is my 2 Persian cats. I'm not a groomer. I'm just a loser who didn't understand I shouldn't respond to fans. And I'm not a predator, even though a lot of you think so, because 5 years ago I made a fart joke.
Yeah.
The other thing about Sarah Cooper is she's the one who wrote this amazing tweet. So yeah, for some reason everybody liked Sarah Cooper, and then she basically just 1 month was hosting Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel's like, oh, I'm going away for my holidays, and Sarah Cooper is going to take my place, interviewing like Mayor Pete or whatever. And you're just like, this is completely unearned. This is so bizarre. And then you like look up Sarah Cooper's background, and it's like, I don't know if she's like an agent or like an investment banker, and she's like, now it's time for me to get into comedy. And then she just lip syncs to Trump's speeches, and then actually somehow gets it. And it's like, was there some? Did you meet the devil at a crossroads or something? I don't know how this happens, you know? It kind of... see if I can find that tweet.
I wonder if she was in Unfrosted.
Apparently she was, according to the credits. Oh, sorry. Yeah, who she was, I don't know. God, I really... Where is this fucking tweet?
Sarah Cooper thinks Jerry Seinfeld could get it.
Yeah. Get a bullet in the head. Is that what she's saying? Because I agree in that case. Here's the tweet. You got to listen to this. So, because she's a politics person at the end of the day. This is from 2019. And it goes, husband, Kamala Harris is the perfect candidate. Me, do you want 2 blowjobs today or 3? I just find that one so disgusting. Because
it really is.
We're just like, first of all, Kamala Harris, stupid. But also then when you go 2 blowjobs, you know, like,
yeah,
what a weird, like, you know, sex. I didn't know whether to give him 2 blowjobs or 3. It's like, do you know what a blowjob is? Yeah, I don't know why you're asking. I give him all the time.
Yeah, it's such a, like, you know, today's National Steak and Blowjob Day, isn't it? It gives off that energy of, like, there's just something insanely horrible about that. I don't know what it is.
It's just so much more than I wanted to know.
Yeah, I know. And I think it's like, just, I don't know. It's making me feel horrible.
Let's just stop talking about that.
The free bit is over. What's the deal with that? Go to patreon.com/CelticLigers to hear the rest, which contains Al Porter's continued triumphant return, Stefanie Preissner contemplating a cheeky eternal rest. Then they remember to talk about the new So Wedge a bunch in there.